What happens when life calls you home? Not the cute homecoming, not the I missed y'all homecoming, but the kind when you're grieving your father's death, you're managing and you're running your own business, and you're realizing that the people you grew up with no longer recognize the woman that you've become. Today, I'm sitting here with one of my oldest friends from H-Town, from Houston, Texas, Ashley Sutton, and she is the founder of Hustle and Hope. And today we're going to have a conversation that I feel like a lot of women, especially women entrepreneurs, are afraid to talk about out loud because it's hard to really admit that one of the loneliest chapters of your life can be when you go home. So without further ado, welcome Ashley to our show, the
Hello,
Meta Business
hello.
Millennial Podcast.
Hello,
I'm so
hello.
happy to have you here.
Me too. I'm so happy to be here. It's been so
That's
long.
amazing. And so, right? And so Ashley and I reconnected after years of having not even like been in each other's orbit. And we had this conversation together and realized we had so many similarities in our path, and just wanted to explore them together. So, Ashley, if you don't mind just introducing yourself, talking about what Hustle and Hope is, a little bit about your journey from Houston to New York, back to Houston, and then, yeah, well, then we can just go from there.
Yeah, yeah. So, Erin knows me, but to y'all who don't know me, I am Ashley Sutton. I am the founder of Hustle and Hope, and we are the first two-in-one motivational stationery company to include free digital guides with every single card and notebook, notepad, you name it. And the reason why I decided to do this is because you know us. We have our corporate background, so we're always looking at the white space and all of the things. And I was just so inspired to create a stationery company because both my mom and my dad always used to give us a card and maybe even flowers after every single recital or track meet or anything that we were in. And I always loved that feeling. I just thought, they gave it to us just to say, you showed up for yourself. If sometimes we sucked, we weren't even that great in it, but they were there and they were present and they just showed so much love. And I thought about this point now that I'm, fully grown adult, and I was like, we need to get back to that. Like, where's that connection, that like human embrace from like a little paper hug, right? And I wanted to create something that went beyond just a greeting card and not to just be another cute card like a Hallmark or an American Greetings. No shade to them, but just wanted to really be able to provide a product with purpose. And I always, always, always want to make sure that I'm leading products and businesses with intention. And that's where it came from. And so let's say you give someone a thank you card. When your recipient scans the back, I'll just show you really quickly. They can scan the back and then they'll get a free guide on how to practice gratitude. So, really wanting to make sure that I am providing something that is just beyond a piece of paper for someone. And, the inspiration coming from my family, being there for us and supporting us was honestly the like thing that kind of kept me going. And ironically, the thing that brought me back to Houston was the passing of my father. He passed away in 2021, early 2021, and then I was still working in New York. The pandemic had everybody working from home. And so my lease wasn't up until the
Mhm.
end of the year of 2021. And I decided, I was like, I'm at this weird crossroad. I could stay in the city. Who doesn't love New York, right? Well, there are plenty of people who don't, but I loved
Right.
it. And I could have stayed there, or
I
I,
admit it, not from New York.
like, I could have stayed, or I could go home and grieve and be with my family. And that's exactly what I decided to do. So I literally got all my stuff on some moving company I hired, and they got all my things on a truck. I moved literally the week of Christmas 2021, and I officially moved in to my place in 2022 in Houston. And then right after that, my father passed about a year and 5 months after my dad passed. So, we talk about gut feeling, our ancestors, always call it, the Holy Spirit. But there was a reason why something in my gut had told me, go home. And I'm so, so glad that I
Yeah.
did, because I wouldn't have been able to be here for my mom, who was reeling from the death of two people that she loved once, so yeah, that's what brought me here again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think it's just so beautiful how life, brings people together and brings people back together,
Yeah,
because my story is just so strikingly similar. It's just unreal. You know,
yeah.
um, my father passed away in 2017, at the end of 2017, and I was living in Detroit at the time, and I had just launched my first beauty brand. I had launched my first hair product company,
Y'all, I love
and
that. I
everyone
still
was so
swear by that
excited.
hair stuff.
My hair is my moisturizing spray, and so I I was devastated when of course, when my father passed away, and I was even more devastated when my mother couldn't handle, the pressure of being alone and being separated from us, and I had to move back home to care for her.
Hmm.
And I literally didn't have the, the emotional capacity to manage that business with the toxic partner who I was managing it with, and caring for my mom, and caring for myself, managing my own grief, and then getting pregnant a few months after that. So it was just so many things that were holding me back from, walking in my full purpose at that time, that
Hmm.
coming home for me was the biggest wake up call. I like to say that's when my real education began. And actually,
Yeah.
when I became all this metaphysical stuff that you see today, all of that started happening for me, awakening in me when I moved back home and living in my childhood bedroom, and
Hmm.
and revisiting the same walls that had been running from my whole life.
Hmm.
And so,
Hmm.
I wanted to ask you, because and I'll speak to it first for myself, how that felt for me in my body. And for me, I know that it was incredibly unbearable. It was literally unbearable. I feel like we had discussed, like, suicidal thoughts and just wanting to end it all, because it was just so painful to feel at a level that I had never felt before. I had spent,
Yeah.
and I talk about this a lot on my podcast, I spent so much of my life numbing, especially leading up to my father's death. I was in my 20s and living in New York as well and going to
Hmm.
business school. Like, I drank my face off. And so that was my way of coping with my pain that I never felt. And
Yeah.
by the time my father had passed away, I had been a few years sober and was really on this intentional healing journey. And I had called forth the ability to heal and to feel my emotions, yet I didn't know that the feeling was going to be that deep and that painful.
Yeah.
And so I'm also wondering too, like, when you were going through this, like, how are things feeling for you? Because I know a lot of times people don't know how to process the emotions. It's usually the hardest part of homecomings or being around
Yeah.
families that, in hard times.
Yeah. I mean, first, let me say this. I'm incredibly just blessed to have a really just like my mom is, I don't even know how God blessed me with this woman. Like, she is everything. Like, and she's not just everything to me, she's everything to all my friends, my family. Like, she is that girl, you know? Um, so I have an
I
incredible
love that.
support system. Yeah, incredible support system through her, through my aunt, my brother is incredible. He get on my nerves sometimes, but that's my brother and I love him. But but he's everything to me, you know. And so I have this really kind of like tight knit, in terms of like the new nuclear family, right? That's there, and so they were there every step of the way. But I think for me, it became really hard to work. For lack of a better term, was like the corporate girly. I mean, everybody knew there was not one day in the year that you were not going to see Ashley Sutton wearing, some cute little suit or dress or pearls or some heels or headed to a meeting. I got to this, I got to that. I mean, I was as my good friend Jared Jared Joseph would say, Jared Wayne Gladly would say, I'm a woman on the move, and that is just who I was or how I was defining myself, right? And so to go back to work, I went back to work way too soon because I thought, the team is asking, oh, when do you think you're going to come back? And they don't mean any harm, right? It's just like, it feels like pressure, even if it's not them saying you got to get back to the office right now, but it feels like pressure. And so having
Yeah.
that weigh on my shoulder, not to mention this, like, okay, I'm going to just compartmentalize everything and focus on work and not going to think about this thing. And I'll cry when I need to cry, and that's it. Um, and that worked when my dad passed for a little bit. And then it was like compounded double grief. I always call him my chosen dad. I mean, but I know universally stepfather, whatever.
The bonus
Um,
dad.
yeah, my bonus dad, my chosen dad. Um, then that happened, and I was like, I just kind of hit rock bottom, and I just could never I was always drowning. I could never get my head above water. Like, it was just, work was too much. I
Mm,
could barely get out of bed. I was so demotivated. I had a bunch of other stuff going on. Um, and ironically, like, the one thing that that was making me smile and keeping me excited was hustle and hope, which literally by the namesake,
yeah.
I had to have that. But I
Yeah.
became a shell of myself. For sure, it was, as you said, devastating. And I don't think people understand until you lose a parent. Like, people think they know, and they'll send you a cute little text or whatever, but it's like, until you have lost one of the most influential people in your life, you can't, you just can't understand. You just cannot. It changes you.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. It wakes you up.
It does.
It wakes
It woke
you
me up
up.
to a lot of things because I was like, oh my God, F this, F everything. Everything is too, life is too short to be sitting in a space that I don't want to be in, to be smiling at people that are fake as heck, like to be going in circles where I'm not being, loved and supported and all of that. Screw that. Like, I don't have time to waste. Like, what's that?
Right.
Love Jones. That line in Love Jones, and it's like, it is urgent like a mother. That's how I felt. Like, that is how I felt. It's just like, nothing
Yeah.
and no one matters if you are not bringing the joy, the peace, the love, the excitement, the support in my
Yes.
life. Like, if there's any doubt,
Yes.
if there's any
Yes.
hater, if there's any of that, if there's this like, those relationships where it feels like you're giving more than the other person. And I get it, right? Everybody's at a
Yes.
different stage in their
Yes.
life and all of the things. But baby, one thing I know, if you want to do something, you gonna do it. Okay? That's just that
That
on
part.
that. Period.
Yes. Yeah. And this is such a great segue into like the next part of the conversation I wanted to get into was really the shifting of relationships and relational dynamics in your life when you come back home
Mm.
and you're dealing with a lot of stressors because I feel like we really want to, give people and we talked about this because you've been in my life so long, you get,
Yes.
priority, access and in reality, it's not necessarily how long someone's been in your life or,
No.
how many schools y'all went to together. And rather it's, who can genuinely show up energetically, who can meet me emotionally, who can just meet me and just sit next to me
Yeah.
and hold space for me
Yeah.
in my fullness
Yeah.
and not have any jealousy or envy or sorrow or or competition in my
Oh God,
space,
yeah,
because all
yeah.
of those energies are felt and they're very uncomfortable. And I have to say, for me, it was really hard um, connecting back to family members, like cousins, aunties, uncles, friends, best friends since 5, 6 years old type. And, and really being able to be comfortable with these people just because I know you, and I don't even want to use the word no, but just because, we've spent a lot of time together, we actually don't know each other and we actually
Yeah,
don't see each other, and the intimacy there is doesn't exist. And
yeah.
so that was really my journey, and it was also a grieving. I think that's the part that people don't like to talk about, is that part of letting those relationships fall off is also a grieving, and it's also
Oh
painful,
yeah,
and sometimes isn't isn't amicable. That comes
yeah,
with fights and bad words being hurled at each other because people don't know how to consciously uncouple, was that the word that I used before
yes,
in another podcast segment, but don't know how to consciously, disconnect. And
yeah.
so this was part of my experience a little bit that made the path and the journey much harder than I anticipated, and would love to explore that with you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I dealt with this sort of transition twofold because I am coming back home to Houston after being away
Mhm.
for over a decade, nearly a decade and a half. Um,
Yeah,
in
I
a
figured it was over 10 years.
Yeah, it was almost 14 years, like in a city that I grew up in, like, yeah, Houston. I was
Yeah,
born in Houston, but raised in New York, like, and um,
that
and
part.
so coming back here was already going to be foreign because the girl that I left Houston as, now coming back as the woman that New York has raised me as, was very different.
Hmm.
And different, not,
Very.
people think different and you think, oh, it's like it has nothing to do with levels, but it has everything to do with, you know, now I enjoy being inside. I don't have to go out 5 times a night. I enjoy a lovely glass of wine and lighting my candle and reading a book or watching a show. Like I'm gonna sit. One thing I'm gonna do is sit on the couch and watch a show. But like just lifestyle changes, right? Also becoming more intentional with my
Yeah.
relationships versus when you're younger, you're okay to just kind of like, oh, hey, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Want to get a drink? Okay, cool. And there's no substance, right? Like really finding myself and understanding that I do want to have connection with people. And that doesn't mean talking to someone every single day, 5 times a day, or even once a week. It just means an intentional connection with someone. So really growing into this woman, and then on the other hand, you have this woman who has now gone through a detrimental, loss, grief that is so deep, um, that it has fundamentally changed her, and in the beginning, without her even knowing that it changed her.
Right.
Um, and and so there are people who just will not allow you to be who you are today, if that makes sense. They are stuck
Yeah.
in the past of how you used to be or who you were, right?
Yeah.
For better or for worse. If you were
Yeah.
younger and you popped off
Right. Right.
at the mouth and you were a hothead, or like you said, you used to drink, and that's all people knew you as, they still want to keep you
Hmm.
as party Erin or slick mouth
Yeah.
Ashley. I still got a slick mouth, but it's not nearly as bad. It's not nearly as bad. But you know what I mean? Like it's all of these things that people want to keep you as because they haven't changed. they haven't evolved.
That part.
They haven't worked on
That
themselves and
part.
they haven't figured out who they are outside of their spouse or their children or their job or their mother or their father, right? And I'm not saying that everybody needs
Yes.
to have this experience of uh, moving away to have this awakening. I think if you want to be awakened,
Yeah.
you gonna get awakened, right? Like, let's not make this more
Yes.
than it needs to be. This is someone who was consciously trying to do an introspective look at herself to say, baby girl, like, who are you? What is it that you want to do and be in life? And for me, that was not this fair weather friend. It was not a fair weather anything. It's like, but I also have to know that as a person who often let people stomp all over my boundaries, I had to make up rules and regulations for my body, for my soul, my mind, my consciousness, and that is, if this is to be intentional and I want to reach out to you and you want to reach out to me, then it does need to be reciprocal. It doesn't need to be automatic. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be in 5 minutes, but it does need to be reciprocal. That's just sheer respect. That's the basic
Love
human
that.
respect. Nobody is that busy that they can't reach back out to you. They can't connect to you. You're just not a priority for them. And you don't need to be a priority, but you do need to be thought of. If we're going to sit here and say that we're family or we're friends or whatever, and then guess what? In many cases, if that trickles off, that's okay. You now know who is and who isn't your people. And that is
Hmm.
also, there's beauty in that. There was a time when I used to get so upset, like, oh my God, this person, they didn't come and they didn't support and they didn't buy and blah blah blah. And one of my friends was like, she's like, but look at all the people who did show up for you. And I was like,
Yes.
you know what? You right. Like, and so ever since then, my whole mindset has just been about, oh my God, like, look at this amazing group of people who showed up. And the people who don't, and I'm continuously sending invites or whatever, like, slowly but surely they drop off the invite list. And it's not a, well, I'm not going to invite you anymore. It's like, it's not that. It's not childish like that. But it is a thing of like, okay, like totally cool. I get where you are, but there's no malice. I think people want you to feel mad. They want you to be pissed off that
Yeah.
like, and it's like I
Yes.
genuinely don't care that much because the people, my dad is no longer here, baby. There's nothing in this world. My mom, like, unless that my mom, heaven forbid, okay, right now, like there is nothing that you can do, say, think, not support, whatever that is going to top any of the loss that I have had in my life. You are insignificant, and I'm just gonna say that. You are insignificant. Your actions, your feelings,
Hmm.
your attitude, your gossip, your any of that is insignificant to me and the life that I'm leading.
Hmm.
I am leading a life where I want to
That part.
be, supported by the people who support me and loved on and cherished and loved out loud. Like all of the things that I think everybody deserves. And quite frankly, every woman deserves. And if we're going to get there, every black woman deserves. Like, that's like, we're out here building
Yes.
businesses. And it's not easy, it's not easy. And I think the people that understand that and celebrate you are the ones that need to be spoken of, right? Like we put way too much energy into what's not. I see so many memes and videos on Instagram that if they not blah blah blah. I'm sorry, I don't know if we can cuss on here, but fuck them. Like we off that. Like we who cares? Who cares what they're not doing for you? It doesn't matter. The people, especially if you're a business owner, your friends and family shouldn't be the people that are keeping you in business in the first place. If they are, you don't have a business
I
model.
agree.
You have a hobby.
Right. Yes.
But that's another
I
conversation for
agree.
another day.
And I love that you really have gone deeply on down this path of talking about how there is no malice behind setting boundaries. There is no malice behind taking people off the invite list. It's really about the reciprocity. And I think this is
Yeah.
something too that women entrepreneurs, even the men that are listening out here, that struggle to have that the boundaries and the security and the confidence and moving forward in their businesses if people aren't supporting them the way that they want them to,
Yeah.
that there is the opportunity to really support those that support you. Like, this is how we got
Yeah.
this podcast here today. It's just like, I invited you to come to my event. You couldn't make
Yeah.
it. How can I support you? Well,
Yeah.
you can buy some product. And you're like, and I was like, how can I
Absolutely.
support you?
And
You
guess
can buy
what?
my
And you
product.
sent
And
that
we did
link, and
just that.
baby, I hit purchase so quick because that is what we are supposed to
Yes.
do. That's community, you know,
Yes.
and to me it's like put your money where your mouth is. You know what I'm saying? I know you. I know
Mhm.
you've done product before. First of all, you're a friend and we hadn't connected in so long, but I think that is the full circleness of it all, right? And also when you understand that someone's
Yes.
intention around you has never ever been malicious or this competitive spirit or anything. We came back after
Mhm.
years of like, damn, I haven't connected with her, but
Yeah.
I'm always rooting for you. You know what I mean? Like, there's never been a moment where I've been
Period.
like, oh, I haven't talked to her, so I'm not gonna like this post. It's like that's weird and whack and lame. Like, relax,
Yeah.
relax.
Yes. And we see a lot of that in our community. And
Hmm.
when I say community, I say Black community, but I feel like it's just in the woman community. It's in the woman community, no matter the race or background. And I'm experiencing it because I live in this neighborhood now, and I belong to this women's club, and it's predominantly white club, and I see a lot of the same dynamics of competition and backstabbing and
Mm,
bickering and withholding information, and it's not just Black women, it's all women that really struggle to trust each other, to be vulnerable with each other and fully revealed with each other. And I understand that this is a protection mechanism. So, like, again, there's no shade to where anyone is on their path, because we've come up with these behaviors. We have these behaviors because we're protecting ourselves. Like, I mean, it really comes from that place, from little girls. That's why people are like, "Why y'all so petty? Y'all acting like little girls." Well, these are wounded little girls as grown women, essentially, and
that's so
and
unfortunate.
what we're doing. Yeah, and but what we're doing here is really modeling what the healing looks like, and what being a woman looks like, and that having that integrated little girl that is free to express herself like you do with your hustle and hope, like I do with my hair products, in a way that brings that little girl into a beautiful play dynamic with my grown self. and
Yeah.
and so it makes it much easier for me to show up for other women because my little girl is happy and healthy. And so I know we're kind of coming up on time, so I just want to ask you, like, what is one thing that a woman or our man, but people can take away, entrepreneurs can take away, from this journey that you've been on so far?
Yeah, before we go there though, I do want to just address that. It's like once I decided to be, free of the past and this, we've known each other for this long and I need to have this person in my life and well, this person knows this person, so therefore I got to be this person. Once I freed myself from that and really focused on the ones who are supporting me and I'm supporting them, um, honestly, the women that are in my circle, we don't have any of that. There's none of this competitiveness. We're all sharing grant links and this and that. We're all trying to get to the
Yeah,
bag, right? Like all this, I
period.
think you're better and I think you're pretty, and none of that. Like we are all, because there's space for us all. Even if five of them have a beauty
Yeah,
line and two of them have a stationary line, like I'm always helping people. You know what I mean? And if I ever get the sense that there's some like weird stuff going on, then I know to remove myself from the situation versus just continuing to have this cycle of hurt with women or men or whomever that is in the business, circle. So that's that. But in terms of like one thing I would say to take away, I think one thing that a lot of people fail to do as entrepreneurs is to check in with self. Um, we are so busy being the marketer, the packer, the customer support the designer, the brand strategist, the PR person, and we're wearing all these hats and we're not checking in with the heart and the head, the body. So I would highly recommend that you get in tune with the moment that, makes you feel like you're about to get burned out. And how do you prevent that? Start drinking your water. I'm talking to myself. Go on walks. Like that has helped me tremendously. Like daily walks
Yeah.
it clears my mind, it clears my soul, just like helps me think. And I'm also just like I'm also thinking about business while I'm on my walk too. It's not like I'm just like I am one and one is all on my walk. Like no, like everything doesn't need to be a chakra and a mantra and all of the things just to be free, right? You do, however, need to be present and have clear mind as you go through those things. So I would say, yeah, check in with yourself, not just
Yeah.
the business of it all.
I love it. I love it. Both of them were great takeaways.
Thank
First, when you were
you.
admitting to that, I no longer attract these kinds of toxic relationships in my life because I've done the healing work to really
Yeah.
amplify my own love for myself. So when I love myself, then I attract people who also love themselves. And then the second
Yes.
piece around taking care of yourself. So you
Girl.
can't have one without the other. You can't have loving relationships without loving on yourself. So I think that's a
No.
very beautiful takeaway. And definitely let us know where we can find your Hustle and Hope cards, where we can get in touch with you, all the folks that are listening and watching.
Yes, so you can shop Hustle and Hope at hustleandhope.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Hustle and Hope. And then a little birdie may be telling you sometime in April that you can find us at a national specialty store nationwide. I will follow up on, we'll have to have a little follow up Instagram or something like that to share. But yes, it's going to be a fun
Absolutely.
time.
Yes. Oh my God. I love to celebrate things with my friends. But okay, so y'all know where to find her. And we are, previewing a national rollout of Hustle and Hope. That's amazing. Guys,
Yes.
I'm so grateful to have had my friend Ashley on the show. This has been such a wonderful conversation about women, about, healing, around relationships, around coming home and doing it and understanding that it is going to be hard, but but no pain, no gain. So you want to be able to manage the pain, manage your emotions, manage everything that you're going through because it's going to look brighter and beautiful on the other side. We promise. And for all of you who are tuning in to the Meta Business Millennial, I'm so grateful that you have been. Certainly drop me a comment if you love this episode. And you can find my work across social media at I am Erin Patten and my website, erinpatten.com. Thank you all. Thank you again, Ashley, for being on the show. Thank
Thank you for
you.
having me. I'm so grateful.
Yes. And for all of you watching, thank you so much for staying with us. We love you. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.